Hello guys, welcome to another podcast. And today, I don't know how to really say what we're talking about. Myths that we believed as children.
Yeah, myths and little tales that were spun to us either by parents or friends or schools.
Yeah.
All that fun stuff. The things that we thought were true but aren't. Or are they?
I guess we could start with the simple ones, like your parents saying they're going to call the police on you when you're acting naughty.
That's so awful that so many parents did that.
They still do it. Or like when you see a cop and a mother would be like, they're coming for you.
I remember one time, hi Jax, I have this memory of one time, I think there was like a police car outside our house. I don't know why. People get pulled over in front of my house all the time.
It's because they speed.
I live on a very, very busy road, as you guys have probably heard in our videos that are filmed at my house. One of the main roads of the town. But there's a cop in front of my house, and I think my brothers and I were probably acting up that day or whatever. My mom was like, see, the cops are here, they're gonna arrest you, or they're gonna kind of get you or whatever. And I was so freaked out, I went and hid under my bed. I was a little child, like little.
I gotta say, if there's any parents watching, don't do that.
No, that's so traumatizing.
Because you kind of want them to be able to go to police if they're in trouble.
And you want a kid to be able to go to you. Like, if a kid doesn't trust you, to be there to help with their problems and just threaten them to, like...
Call the cops.
Yeah. It's like, how are they going to trust you? How are they going to be forthright and honest with you and let them know when something's bothering them?
Yeah.
If you threaten to, like, arrest them for feeling things. Like, damn.
Like, once in a while, it may be a little funny, but, like, come on. It just makes your kids really scared because it's not only are you in trouble with your parents, but now you're in trouble with this force that you don't even know.
And you're always taught, like, the cops are, like, scary or whatever. It's like we got taught, like, conflicting things. Because, like, in schools in, like, first grade and, like, elementary school and stuff, we had, like, the talks where they'd be like, police are your friends. They're here to, like, help you. Go to them when you need help. And they'd give us, like, the little coloring books about what to do in case of a fire. Taught us, like, our bike signals and whatnot. But then at the same time, they're like, if you do anything bad, they're gonna come get you. So it's conflicting, which I mean, like, considering these issues we have.
Yeah.
They're conflicting. But, yeah, did you ever get threatened with one of those?
Yes. I think it was mostly my brothers, but I was definitely involved with my brothers when it came to getting in trouble. But definitely, I never really liked that threat. It never made me behave more. I think I would just, like, hysterically cry.
Yeah.
You're going, no, don't. No. Another myth, obviously, I think it was kind of parents, but kind of kids too, is Bloody Mary.
My parents never told me Bloody Mary. I can't remember. I don't remember. What was the first time you remember hearing about Bloody Mary?
Was at a karate school. So I believe it was the kids. And so there's different myths about Bloody Mary of how she died.
She varies.
The one that I was told was that she was playing with friends.
That was definitely made up by kids.
A ball got stuck on the roof. She went to go get the ball, but she fell off the roof and died. And then
that is not what I heard.
It was like that. I don't remember how the ending went, but it was like that.
The story,
but the real story, isn't it? Like it was like the Spanish flu, something like that.
What I heard was like she got really sick and died, so they buried her.
But she was actually alive.
But she wasn't actually alive. See, back in like the olden days when medical stuff was not technological. Bodies that were dead, they would bury, but they would attach a string to the body that would, like, go up above the ground and was attached to a bell. And if the person woke up because they weren't actually dead, it would ring the bell, and then they'd be like, okay, we got, like, 2 minutes to get out there and dig up this body before they're out of air.
Yeah, because they said that she was ringing it, but when the father came out, the bell was falling over, so they dug her up, and, like, she was scratching at the coffin, so, like, her nails were bloody, and she had no nails.
Yeah,
her
nails were, like, scratched out and, like, caught in, like, the coffin, so she was, like, all bloody.
Don't understand how that traps her in a mirror, though.
There's a ton of different stories. Like, there's so many different variations. I remember there was a rumor of Bloody Mary in my elementary school.
When was there not?
Because kids just like to be like, oh yeah, I have a ghost in it. Like, there was this story, I think one of my friends told me that she went into the bathroom and somebody had done it in the mirror, and when she turned around, she was blue, or whatever. Oh, I remember also in that bathroom, it was called the haunted bathroom. For some reason, there was a rumor that there was a ghost named Kate that haunted the 7th stall. And, like, I
bet that was just a girl that just wanted the stall to herself.
It could have been. But, like, people would say, like, the toilets would flush on their own, or the sinks would, like, turn on by themselves, or whatever. So, nobody dared go into the 7th stall. I went into it, though, and I never got killed.
It was, like, in elementary school that they said if the swing was swinging by itself, it was, like, the founder of the school.
They didn't say that.
So, it was, like,
it was just, like,
we wouldn't touch it.
Yeah, I didn't have that. Although, did you remember, like, on the playground when if you and somebody else were swinging at the same space, they'd be like, "We're married."
It was married or best friends.
It was married for our school. It's like our friends was nice, and we'd be on the swing, and be like, "Look, we're married."
I think it was best friends for us.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there was definitely that. There was also a time where my dad made me scared of Fisher cats. So Fisher cats was not a problem now, but when I was younger, you could kind of hear them at night.
I've heard them fairly. There was a
screaming. If you guys haven't heard Fisher cats screaming, you need to go YouTube it because it is awful. Like little kids screaming or babies or women screaming, they're scary.
Fisher cats, like, one time I was out with a friend and it was kind of late. We got back and we were just like sitting in her car in front of my house, just finishing up our conversation. And all of a sudden, I can't speak. All of a sudden, we just heard this, like, horrifying scream. It sounded like a lady, but I think it was
That's
like
how
a Fisher
lure
cat.
you in. They're awful. But, yeah, we heard one, and I was, like, next to my dad, and he was like, if you go out there, they're going to eat you. So I thought...
it might not be a lie.
So I thought Fisher cats were a bigger deal than they were, so... I remember, I think my mom had to yell at my dad because I was, like, too afraid, and I just... It was just...
Too afraid of the outside world. The second you stepped foot outside, a Fisher cat was just gonna, like, leap down at you from the roof.
Yeah, something like that.
The second you open the door, it's like... It just goes straight for the face.
Yeah. I don't know what I thought.
Kids don't have the logic to, like, be able to, like, discern truth from fact. Or like, kids also just, like, have this crazy mindset. It's kind of like the same way where kids will put the blame on themselves. Like, if parents are, like, getting divorced or something, a kid will automatically think, like, oh, it's something I did. Yeah. That's why it's like, if you're getting divorced, talk it out with your kid. Like, make sure they're on the same page. Like, kids just have a bizarre thinking processes just because of the way they're able to make connections, and because obviously their brains are still developing, so they're still learning how to, like, make connections, and not, like, because they'll just think, like, this happened and this happened, so this is automatically related to this, or those are automatically a cause, basically. So
okay,
yeah,
there you go.
Just come up with crazy solutions.
There is also when parents would tell you not to turn the light on in the car, they go, it's the law, you can't have it on, I'll be pulled over, turn it off, and you just...
I don't want to do that, but she'd be like, don't turn that light on, it's illegal.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Spoiler, it's not actually illegal, but it does make it harder to see in the car. Because
it's
then you see the light and...
But...
No, it just makes it harder because then you see the reflection in the mirror. Or if you're like us, like, it'll reflect off your glasses too from behind. That also makes it harder to see. Especially if you're like us and, like, lights are already hard to see. I still
thought it was, like, illegal for the longest time, even when I grew up.
Yeah.
Just because to me it made sense.
I think I found out, like, on a Facebook meme or something that it, like, wasn't illegal, and people were like, oh my god, what?
Really? I was lied to my whole life?
Like, I prefer to not have it on either, but it's just harder to see.
But you won't get pulled over.
No. Unless there's something else wrong with your car, or they're just like, yeah, that person has a light on, I'm bored, I got 10 minutes to kill. Let's see what they're up to.
That's awful.
You know, it could happen, though. Some have a quota. I don't know how this podcast turned into talking about the police, but this is not what we're here for.
No. What other myths were you told? You said something about a leprechaun before this, right?
Oh, yeah. So, in my elementary school, there was, like, this myth that, like, a leprechaun would come in and, like, haunt the school or whatever. It was mainly around, like, St. Patty's Day, where there was, like, a myth where if you saw, like, little green footprints, like, it could lead you to gold or whatever. And there was, like, a myth that, like, I think it was, like, mainly in the bathrooms or whatever. But yeah, that's the thing. It could have been because our school's mascot was a leprechaun. Very weird. Probably because our town was, like, Irish Scots founded, so that was probably why. But I honestly don't know. I don't know why it was a leprechaun. It's probably the weirdest mascot out of the town. It's bizarre.
Our town is like astronauts, bulldogs, huskies.
Leprechauns. Now they're gonna, one's a lizard. Or a gecko. That's, no.
I think one school I went to was like a wolf because they would do this to get you to shut up.
Oh yeah, the silence wolf.
Yeah, it was like
the
this.
llama.
They would do this so that it was like...
I hated that, the non-talking symbol. Or the hands up, shut up. It's like hands up, stop talking. So if like teachers like rose a hand, you were supposed to all just like raise your hand until slowly everybody realized like, I have to stop talking now. It wasn't a really effective way because it took forever because people would like pretend they didn't notice or whatever and just keep talking.
Kids, man. Rebellious.
Listen to your teachers.
Also, parents telling their kids that something's spicy and you won't like it when that's not true.
Mine did not do that. At least not that I remember. We should have thought of this yesterday so I could be like, hey mom, what did you tell us at kids that wasn't true?
What else was there? Huh.
Were you ever told any like scary stories as a kid? There was one really good one.
I think
that
mine
we
was...
used to tell at like church camp or whatever.
My mom would try to tell me things and I would just shut her out and go, ah, or cover my ears and be like, I don't want to hear it. Because she would go to say like scary things about ghosts or something and I would like cover my ears and be like, ah, you know, because I didn't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it now and I didn't want to hear it then.
Can I tell you the haunting tale of Taily-Po?
Oh, what is that?
You haven't heard Taily-Po? You might have heard it before.
Do I want to... Is it scary or like kid scary?
Could be either, depending on how scared you are.
Great. Nightmares from Makayla tonight. I'll make sure to write it down to tell you guys.
Yeah, we'll do an update
I'll be like,
at the end of this video.
Mental health check on Makayla.
So this was a tale that we would tell, that we would get told by like the older kids, like when we went on like church like outing trips up north, when we were in like this cabin in the woods up in the mountains where everything's secluded. Very pretty. I wish I could go back. Anyways, so the tale goes, let's see if I can remember it. The Legend of Taily-Po. So it starts out, there's this man living alone in the woods up in his cabin. He has several dogs. His favorite one was one with a milky eye. I don't remember why that's important. That my details might be spotty. I'm telling this on the spot. So, he would go hunting with his dogs, and yeah, they're hunting dogs. Anyways, he was out hunting one day. He heard a rustling in the trees, didn't see quite anything, or saw like a blur move by him, something dark. So he heard like a kind of like a or whatever. And his dogs went and they retrieved a tail and brought it back. So he's like, whoa, this is good. We can have this in a stew. So they went home. He cooked it up, put it in his stew, fed some to his dogs, had some for himself. And then later that night, he heard some like rustling out in the woods. His dogs got really upset and like ran up the door, ran after it, and they heard scruffling and barks and cries and then nothing. So then I don't remember if either the dogs went missing or he went outside and found like a bloody mess of the dogs. Could have been either.
It kind of reminds me of this story. I don't remember it, but maybe you also heard it. A person went to a haunted house.
Oh, let me finish this one first.
Oh, you're not done?
No, it keeps going.
Okay. I thought you were done.
No.
Go ahead.
That was just a pause. We're like halfway through.
Oh, God. Okay.
So, does that. And then, so he's like freaked out, like, oh, what animal did this? Like, there must be like a bear or something out there. So we locked the door, went upstairs, and tried to fall asleep.
What time year is this?
I don't know.
No cops?
He's out in the woods. I don't know. He's a bear. I don't know.
Okay.
He doesn't know. It's his tail.
Okay.
But so he goes to bed. He can't sleep, or he wakes up, and then he hears, "Taily-po, taily-po, who's got my taily-po?"
What the hell's a taily-po?
The tail. I don't know why it's called taily-po. I wanted the exact same thing. I was like,
What the hell's a tail?
dumbass animal creature calls a tail a taily-po?
I was sleeping and I heard taily-po, I would be like, what?
What the hell?
The hell is that?
Yeah. But I don't know either. But anyways, and it sounded like it was off in the distance, so it was like, well, that's odd. Maybe that's just the wind. And then
Yeah, that's what all white people say, and then they're murdered.
tried to go back to sleep. And then a little while later, he heard it one more time. Taily-po, taily-po.
I don't know if I would be scared of my taily.
taily-po. But it sounded closer this time.
And that's from the recipe thing he had?
Yeah, so he ate the tail. So he heard it closer, and now he was kind of like getting unnerved. Couldn't really like sleep well. And then he heard it again. The song, I don't know, do you want me to sing it every time?
No.
So he heard the song again, and then he heard like a scratching at the door. And so he was like, whoa. So he pulled out his rifle or his gun or whatever and like put it in bed next to him and was like, what is this? And was like super freaked out. Then he heard like something creaking up the stairs, getting louder. Taily-po, taily-po, who's got my taily-po? And then, so he's like hiding, cowering in bed, doesn't know what to do. Then he hears the door slowly creak open, and then nothing. And then he hears it once more in the room, singing like, who's got my taily-po? And he looks and he sees two bright yellow eyes. And then
punch that thing. Boom.
And then it just screams, "You've got it!" And then like reaches out its talons and like shreds him apart. I guess retrieves its tail out of his tummy, and then just goes off into the night singing, "Taily-po, taily-po, now I've got my taily-po."
That's the stupidest kid one I've heard.
It was a lot creepier when we were younger. And
I can imagine. And you're camping.
And also, like, a better delivery. Obviously, my delivery was crap because I can, like, my memory of the story is spotty.
Okay.
But we had somebody who was really good at telling the story.
It kind of
tell us, and it was very interesting. And we also had somebody else who was in on it, like, creak up the stairs and was, like, scratching at the walls. And
it's probably the most innocent one I heard.
I think it was in, like, one of the scary storybooks, too. Oh, there was one about miners, too.
I hope you heard about these ones, because I really don't remember them, and I wish I would remember them, because they were really creepy. It was about someone that went into a haunted house, and I forget what happened. But then there's also one where I think it was a house, and it was a family, and someone got murdered. Something about a big toe.
I think you're also thinking about the Scary Stories books, because that sounds familiar. Something with a big toe is in
Something with a big toe is about one of them.
Yeah, we just need to have a podcast where we're just reading those stories. I remember in elementary school, are they called Scary Stories or Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? Is that the name of them? They have a really creepy art style, which always like gave me like weird like feelings, which is really good. It's really creepy. But so those were huge and wicked popular when we were in elementary school.
Definitely.
And they had like audiobooks telling the stories in our library, and you could like take turns, like you could have like 2 at a time, like listen to them. And so it was like this really creepy voice like reading out the stories, and that was wicked creepy. And I listened to those a couple times, and that was cool.
You know what's also creepy is the nursery rhymes. You're singing them as a kid, thinking they're fine, and then you grow up and realize it's about everybody dying.
Yeah, like Ring Around the Rosie, that song's about the plague, in case you didn't know. So it's Ring Around the Posy, pocket full of posy. So Ring Around the Rosie, that means like a ring around your neck, because I guess the plague victims would get like red rings around their neck is like a symptom or something like that. Pocket full of posy. I think posy is like a plant or an herb or something with a smell to make the bodies smell less bad. So like an incense type of thing. Ashes. We all fell down. So like they're burning bodies because everybody's dying of the plague. And the posy was to like keep the bodies from like smelling really bad.
Are awful.
Because I guess like also like with the plague, depending on which type, you would get like rotting flesh. So
then there's also London bridges falling down.
Which I think was actually about London Bridge falling down. And like a bunch of people died.
Falling down.
Yeah. Those are probably two of the most messed up ones. What are other nursery rhymes?
There's one my mom knows from England, but I forget about it. And I was disturbed because I looked it up, the meaning, and I was like, Mom, you sick. I was like so disturbed.
You sicko.
It was something about oranges and clocks. I could probably find it right now.
Probably British one. But there was another one. I think it might have been a true story or based off of a true story. This was also told in one of the same trips that we went up north to and had the Talipo. I guess there was a story of like these miners who got trapped down in the mines, and they were down there so long they couldn't get out. I guess they slowly started resorting to cannibalism.
Okay.
And then when they got out,
which one?
What?
Which one were you saying?
I was in the middle of.
Yeah. Which?
I don't know what you mean by which one.
Like, what do you? The title.
I don't know the title.
Oh, you don't?
It's just a story that we were told that was like based off like a true story, I think.
Oh,
like there was.
I love those ones.
I think it was. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. We can look it up. But there was like miners that were down in a mine and it collapsed or something. Something went wrong, and they were down there for a while and they resorted to cannibalism, and so like a few of them had like gotten eaten or whatever, and it took a really long time. Like it took so long that their eyes had like adjusted to the dark down there, and so when they came up and like were finally able to get out, I don't know how many were able to get out, it was like a much smaller number. Their eyes, they were almost basically like blind, like they were blinded by the sun because it was so bright, and they were used to like living so long down in the dark that they had to wear like really, really dark sunglasses. So I think like the creepy part of the story, like, or like the catchline or whatever, was like, so if you see somebody with really, really dark glasses, that could be a cannibal or something like that. But it was like
blind people.
Yeah, we should look up if that's a true story. I feel like it might. I remember who told it. It was the our teacher.
So
yeah. Anyways,
I don't know if this is the one that I'm thinking of. But there's one, is a traditional English nursery rhyme called Oranges and Lemons. And Oranges and Lemons says the bells of St. Clements. You know this one? The only 5 fatherings. How do you say that?
Do you want me to read it?
Sure, go for it.
Alright. Oranges and lemons say the bells of St. Clements. You owe me 5 farthings, say the bells of St. Martin's. When will you pay me, say the bells at Old Bailey. When I grow rich, says the bells at Shoreditch. When will that be, say the bells of Stepney. I do not know, says the great bell at Bow. Here comes a candle to light you to bed, and here comes a chopper to chop off your head. Chip, chop, the last man is dead.
Yep.
What is this about?
When my mom was saying that to me, I was like, okay, this is fine.
That took such a turn. What is that about? Is that about like somebody who like owes somebody money, and the church is like, pay up, you owe us some cash, and they're like, so basically, like
it deals with child sacrifice. So it describes public executions because of one of the Henrys. His like marriage difficulties.
Is it the 8th? Is there numbers after it? Where were we looking? Yeah, that would be Henry VIII.
The last 2 lines with a different meter do not appear in the earlier record versions of the rhyme. So.
Yeah, that's really weird. I don't know why these were the things that were told to. Also, the cradle. What's the cradle one? Rock-a-bye baby on the treetops. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock.
They don't
down
really...
come baby cradle all down the mommy and daddy's arms will fall or whatever.
So,
basically a baby falling out of a tree.
So the closest... So Wikipedia is like, we have no the hell... We don't know why. We don't know why that exists there. The closest guess is to the Henry one with...
Who? Wait, what are we talking about?
Oranges and lemons. I read the whole thing. Uh-huh. They have no clue why that is there.
The end part?
The end part.
Like it's not supposed to be?
Their closest one guess is to the Henry thing and his marital problems and apparently child sacrifice.
I mean, didn't he like decapitate everybody?
So, and, public executions. Because my mom saying that to me, I was like, okay. And then she went to the church. I was like, excuse me?
Yeah, living, so church bells. Oh, that's nice. And then, guillotine.
It's just like the last two lines are like,
well, that took a turn.
And mom's like, I don't know. My mom, or her mom or grandmother used to sing it to her. And I was just like,
we should go call up your Mimi and be like, hey, can you explain this to us?
But I don't know if it was her or her grandmother.
She's still British. She might know.
She's still British.
She's
still British.
That didn't change. She might know. If it was her grandma, then maybe she told her. I don't know.
This went to nursery rhymes.
Nursery rhymes are
creepy. Myths that you hear as children too are kind of creepy. Because it's like they're meant to scare you into submission.
Pretty much. I mean,
that's what I feel about
nursery rhymes and like old tales. Like they're told to like keep children good, like the fairy tales, like Big Bad Wolf.
But like, are children that bad that you need to scare them into submission?
Depending on what children you have. Also, people didn't know how to parent. Like they're out there traumatizing their kids. Back in the olden days, children were just thought to be mini adults and were treated as such. Whereas, like, today we know they're developmentally much different.
That's
both
so
physically
weird.
and
You're
mentally.
born a kid and you're like, you're an adult.
It might have been like as late as the 1800s or something, because I think there was a book I read. It was a classical book. I think it was called The Little Princess. I might still have it. Where the little kids were just dressed up just like normal adults and were expected to be like fully functioning adults by their teen years. But we're realizing like today, like there are a lot of developmental stages. There's child, baby, infant, a toddler, child. Like there are so many stages of development which really need to be like nurtured for them to become an adult. And I don't remember. The true age of adulthood, I think, is still speculated, but I think it's actually not until like 25 or something is when your brain stops developing and growing or something like that. So basically, like, I don't know, I could go on a whole like tangent about this, but I need to have more collected thoughts in order to do so.
Yeah, I don't know. If you guys know any really creepy nursery rhymes that we have not mentioned, leave them down below.
Yeah, because there's one of the creepiest ones that you guys have heard.
There's also that Lizzie Borden one that people say when they're doing when they were jumping rope.
Lizzie
they would use
Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40
They would use that when they were jumping rope.
What she had done, she gave her father 40. Yeah, well,
so they sang that when they would go. So they go 1 whack, 2 whack. You know. That
we didn't do that with me. Ours was I think some people did like the Miss Mary Mac.
Mm-hmm. We didn't do that, but I know other.
Did you do the lemonade thing? I should teach you it.
I might know.
So it was like a clapping game.
Oh,
so
God,
you start like this.
I could never do
So
this.
it was like lemonade, clap, 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 crunchy ice, sip it. You're not doing it.
You're wrong.
Sip it
it's
twice.
64.
Lemonade, crunchy ice, sip it once, twice, turn around, touch the ground, kick your boyfriend out of town, no freeze. And then you would freeze at the end, and whoever would stay frozen the longest won. You're thinking of concentration 64.
Probably.
It's something different.
That's
I don't know my childhood games.
That's the only one that I did.
There was also one that we would like sit in a circle, and so people's hands would be like overlaid.
Oh.
And you would go on. It was like quack diddly go so quack quack quack. San Francisco, do a little disco. Florida.
No.
Florida. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if your hand, so on 4, you would try to hit the person's hand. If you hit them, they were out. But if they pulled away and you missed, you were out. And you would just keep going around until there was like fewer people, and the last 2 people would like do the rhyme like with their hands like this crisscrossed, and then whoever was able to have their hands like open at the end won. Those are the types of games that we did in the... I don't remember the Concentration 64 one. It was like Concentration 64.
Category says.
It was like no hesitations on category says, and then somebody would pick a random category. Yeah.
People
and you
that
would have to be like, you do like colors, and then you'd have to like take turns doing the clapping, say your colors, and if you repeated one or hesitated for like more than a second, you were out.
Category is Harry Potter.
Those were children's games.
Also, the one where
like an Olympics of those.
Put your hand on top and people would go to slap.
Oh yeah, you had to like put your hands out and like people
it would look like this, and then I would go like this or something, and Ashley would have to move.
Yeah, like you'd have
the
to like
slapping game.
Basically, they would try to slap you, and you could pull it out. That's see, back in our day, we didn't have iPads. We just slapped each other.
They probably still do.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. God, we also had the awful like crazes when we were in middle school, like the salt and ice challenge, where people would put like salt on their skin and then put an ice cube on, and they would try to keep it on, and that deep freezes your skin, so people would get like freeze burns really bad. Was that big in your middle school? That was big in my school. They couldn't do it in school, obviously, because but they'd come in and be like, look at what I did from the salt and ice challenge. Or
I
the
wasn't
eraser.
friends with people that did those. The erasers, yeah.
No, I didn't do that. Is there an eraser burn challenge where they would take like an eraser and like rub it across your skin and you would get like actual like burns from that?
Yeah. My brothers, I don't know if they did it, but like when they were in middle school, it was like smoking Smarties and stuff.
Oh, I think that was the thing.
Like you would crush them and they would create like the powder.
Yeah, they would try to snort Smarties because they're not ready for the cocaine yet.
It's a training ground, you know?
Yeah. Smarties are the gateway drug.
Do Smarties still exist?
Yeah, Smarties still exist. You just wouldn't know because we don't do trick-or-treating anymore, so we don't get random candy. I miss trick-or-treating. I loved Halloween and like dressing up, getting candy.
There should be an adult Halloween.
Yes!
Let the kids give out the candy.
Yes! Pay us, you crotch goblins. Give us your candy donations to avoid the sacrifice of the lemons. Or whatever the British dude was talking about.
Well, because at first it was just a nursery rhyme about all the different churches, which makes sense because it's London. Whatever.
I mean, yeah, the churches would kill everybody because they're like, oh, you're a witch! Murder! Or, oh, you went against the church. Murder! For people who praise, like, love and, like, devotion, they do a lot of killing.
What do people call them? Internet Christians? Because they're not really Christians, they're just...
No, they could think they're Christians.
If you were really Christians, you would love and accept every single person, no matter who or what they are, or identify as, or is as, or whatever. That's a true Christian. Because God loves everybody and everything. That's a Christian.
Supposedly.
Supposedly.
They're supposed to, but the thing is...
You're supposed to accept your neighbor. Love thy neighbor.
As, like, I've talked about before, I used to go to church a lot, but I'm not a religious person.
I'm not either.
So I'm not quite, like, into, like, believing all of that. But because I, like, grew up with it, like, I kind of, like, got, like, a feel of, like, what people believe in. And basically, like, when you have to, like, study the Bible, we did, like, when we were in, like, confirmation class, we learned that, like, people like to manipulate it to fit their views, because people will be like, well, you can't be gay or whatever because it says it in the Bible. It's like, okay, Sandra, how many fabrics are you wearing right now? Because according to the Bible, you can't wear clothes that are of mixed materials. You can't eat certain things, like you can't eat cloven animals like pigs. Like, yeah, I bet that's a big plate of bacon you got there, huh?
Yeah, people pick and choose. And
they pick and choose.
Here's the thing, if you want to do that, if you want to really believe in the Bible, then you have to go by it 100%.
And it also says, like, you can have slaves, or there are rules on how to treat your slaves and your wives or whatever. And so it's just, like, personally, we're getting very philosophical and, like, kind of religious right here. And so, like, if you don't want to listen to this, like, don't, just skip ahead a little bit. But basically, me personally, I don't believe the Bible is actual happenings, because I think they're just, like, parables. and stories and myths and things you're supposed to take lessons out of, which I think is the intended thing. And the thing is, like, the Bible is like one of the oldest books. It's been translated thousands and thousands of times. It's a giant game of telephone with, like, through languages, like, translations through different languages.
That's how folktales work. Folktales is because something happened.
The Bible's a folktale. You heard it here.
I mean, it would make sense, no?
Yeah.
It's just one giant folktale.
Treat it the same way. But different people believe differently. Some people will believe hardcore, like the Bible did happen. Or they'll believe it's, like, a bunch of, like, stories that are here to, like, learn from. They're, like, lessons to be told, like fables and whatnot. But it all depends on your
I just
belief.
hate the certain Christians that pick and choose which ones they want to talk about to fit their agenda.
And it's not just Christians either.
No.
People do that in all religions. Christians, Catholics, but they're the super heavy religious
Christians
ones.
and Catholics are, like, the biggest offenders.
And they are also, like, it's a very widespread religion, but it's not the most popular out of the earth population-wise. And it's just, like, you do realize, like, Christianity, they're very... Some people, I have to say some because obviously it's not all, believe, like, their religion is the top order, but it's like, do you realize that Christianity, and I think Catholicism, I could be wrong, but they're pretty similar, it worships another religion? Because, like, technically speaking, Jesus himself was a Jew. The people in the Bible are Jews. They speak Hebrew. So it's like, this is a whole mess. We got very off topic.
Wow, quite the myth there.
What a tangent.
Is that a myth that you're told as children?
We're just here discussing, like, theocracy, or...
Oh my goodness.
Is that the right word? Theology. That's what it is.
Oh, we're lucky these aren't haunted.
Maybe they are, and it's just a chill ghost.
Then I really appreciate them.
Did you get any ghost stories told to you as a kid? Any more?
No, because we had actual ghosts in the houses when I was younger. It's probably why I'm so afraid now. And it's probably why
you know what they're like.
Maybe that's why I don't remember any of my childhood, because I blocked it out because I was
just so traumatized.
It was so traumatizing. My brain was like, no. Here's a wall.
Let's just repress that way down. Just press that down, shove it in a filing cabinet, lock it in a closet, just bury that whole house with a few, like, flowers on top.
For one day for you to be triggered and for you to remember.
You're just like, brain blast, and you just have, like, recurring memories of, like, 3rd grade or whatever.
Maybe that's why I can't remember anything, because the house was so haunted. I just repressed it because it was horrifying.
It blocked out everything, even school, karate,
everything.
Your relations with other people. It was all taken out by the ghosts in your house.
My brain was just like,
memories.
If you gotta take one, you gotta take them all.
Yeah. Ghosts were your brain was like, I don't want to go through the work of picking through these. Let's just throw them all in there and just look for one when we need it.
I mean, probably.
Memory is a crazy thing, guys.
It's like after my grandmother died in 4th grade, my great-grandmother, we called her Nana Banana. Me and Dad both had a nightmare that night of her yelling at us.
Scolding it from beyond the grave.
She was so angry, and it was terrifying.
What was she angry at?
I don't know, but my dad also had the same one, and my mom's like, was like, not yelling at him. I think she was just yelling because it upset her. Why is she having nightmares about her grandmother?
Because her daughters are mean.
And Mom's like, you just had a nightmare about her too. And I was just like sitting in bed, like, just crying because we both had nightmares about my great grandmother after she died.
Mom, why are you screaming? It's only making it worse. Did it feel like she was mad at you, or just like mad in general?
I think it was just the situation was upsetting to her. So
yeah, I mean, I'd be pretty mad if I died.
I don't know. She was mad at me, maybe.
For what?
I don't know. But I felt the anger. I felt attacked, personally.
She was like, you never weeded my garden like I asked you.
I was only in the 4th grade.
4th graders can weed.
And the funeral was on my brother's birthday.
Oh, nice. Did they plan that on purpose, or did they just, like, pick it and they were like, oh, whoops?
Don't know. But, I never dreamed after her that night. It was the one night, my dad too, that one nightmare, and after that, I'm done. No more.
She got it out of her system. She was like, okay, I made my peace. Time to go. You can probably contact her again.
No. She can stay in peace, and we're leaving her be.
Be like, why did you come to me in a dream? And she's like, oh, I'm not leaving now. You're gonna be in it. You want me back? You want to talk to me? You want to know I was in your dream? I'm gonna be in all your dreams. Say hi, cause Granny's back. She's just like, Nana Banana's back.
Cause she gave me her, cause when I used to visit her, I would just sit in this small rocking chair, cause I was a small child, and I would hold her doll. She had like a porcelain doll. And she gave it to me when she passed, obviously, because I used to do that every time I went over. I thought the doll was creepy when it finally came over. So I put it, I forget where. It was I think I put it in the basement. Because can't see it out of thought, out of mind. Whatever. My mom swears, my dad swears that none of us move it because it's freaking disappeared. We have not seen it since I put it somewhere.
Somebody broke into your house and stole it. That was the one thing they
But it's not even in our attic. The thing is just gone.
Like, it was here or at your old house?
It was here at this house.
Maybe it's in the wall somewhere.
This thing's gone now. I'm going to see it tonight now. It's going to be like, you're talking about me, bitch? You're just going
to hear, like, a scratching in the walls, and it's just going to be the doll just, like... You just hear, like, this little, like, clank, or, like, a teapot hitting the wall, and it's the doll's head. She's just crawling around.
Makayla, I ain't sleeping tonight. Because that's what I'm just going to keep thinking about. But
it had to have ended up somewhere.
The doll was fine. Like, nothing evil was coming off of it. It was just a doll that was at the house. And my Nana still lives at that house. Because it was like a...
Oh, was it your Nana's mom?
So, Nana Banana was my great-grandmother. She lived downstairs. Her daughter, which is my grandmother, called her Nana, she lived upstairs. So, when she passed, Nana moved downstairs.
So it's just like when you're the older generation, you just get a fruit to differentiate you.
She moved downstairs to where she lived. And then they have a tenant upstairs. So it's like an apartment type of situation.
Okay.
Like a house. Like
a house with like separate areas.
Yeah, because like downstairs has, bedroom, bathroom, living room, kitchen, and the upstairs has the same. So it's like a house with two separate apartments.
There's plenty of those.
And she moved down there, and there's never been any haunting problems or anything like that.
That's
the
good.
doll's been here since the 4th grade, and there's never been any problem. The thing has just disappeared. So either I got rid of it, and I really, truly do not remember where I freaking put it, but it's just gone.
Maybe you sleepwalked. Like, maybe you went, like, in the middle of the night, you were just like, I changed my mind, and you just hid it so far that you guys would never find it again.
We're gonna move out, and new tenants are gonna come in and be like, and the doll's just gonna be sitting in the middle of the floor, and they'll be like, what?
It's like when my great-grandfather died. I was much older. I was 13, so I think I was in 7th grade. We were, like, cleaning out his house or whatever, and my cousins, I think, in the basement, found this creepy, like, old doll. It was, like, all plastic. I wonder if Jen still has the picture of it, because she took it. It was this creepy old doll. It has, like, holes in the back, so it might have been, like, a battery-powered one.
Why do grandparents have all creepy old toys?
I don't know why that was there. It could have been our great-grandmothers who died, like, before we were born. But, there's just a doll in there, and it's all dirty, covered in dirt, and so we were just like, none of us want this. This is creepy. So we propped it up on a thing down in the basement, so it would just be, like, a lone doll just sitting on a trunk just staring for whoever moved in. So we did that.
I think the real estate agent moved it.
I don't think there was a real estate agent. I think they just bought it for the family. I don't know how it worked, but, yeah, I'll have to ask her if she has that picture, and if she does, we can put it in here. But we took a picture of it through the window outside, so we thought it was funny.
Why do grandparents have creepy things?
I don't know.
Is it just how they made the toys back then?
I think so. I know my grandma has a bunch of, like, creepy, like, porcelain dolls and, like, Jesus things.
Do we only think they're creepy because of all the horror films?
Could be. Could be that. Could be, like, there's, like, the horror stories where, like, dolls, like, take in souls.
That reminds me, do you remember the YouTube phase of that with the thing with the doll and the knife?
No, but something tells me yes.
You at least know the story. Something about, I think there was a game based off of it that YouTubers played that you would do a ritual of some sort with the doll, and the doll would have a knife, and you would have to hide till midnight or 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that.
Then no, I don't know this one.
Stabby stab. But,
Okay.
It was something like that.
I do not remember that. What year was this? I wasn't on the internet until, like, middle school.
It was at least middle school the earliest.
I'd say
high school the latest.
And I think I just missed that because I was not, like, on the internet.
You would do, like, a ritual for the doll or something, and a spirit would come, and you would have to, like, hide in rooms, and the doll would take a knife, and you would have to avoid it till a certain time.
Do you know what she's talking about, guys? I don't know that one.
Maybe it was a school one, but I don't know. But I think we can stop there. We talked a little bit about everything. If there's a certain topic that we talked about today that you would want a bigger podcast on, just that specifically,
yeah,
you can let us know down below.
Rep it. So we went all over the place today. We went in like a full circle. It was actually more like over here, and then over here, and then back over here, and then over here, then over here, and then back over here, and then over here, and then over there. So it's like one complete thing with like multiple shapes.
There was no circle. But yes, please like, comment, subscribe, share all of the things. Our social media is down below.
Thank you for watching.
As always, bye guys.